Now at 9, the Joplin Public Library hosts their annual holiday tea time event. Plus, the Crawford County Historical Museum gets in the holiday spirit with pet photos with Santa Claus.
A breach in the Keystone Pipeline causing its biggest spill in its history. I'm Brian Yennis. I'll have the latest on the investigation coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
They got into the holiday spirit with some Christmas photos with Santa. The Joplin Public Library celebrated the holidays with their annual holiday tea time. The event included a performance by Midwest Regional Ballet, holiday-themed cookies, and of course, tea.
Partner with a local organization or group to have some sort of performance, and we really like to do this and bring it into the library because it gives folks who may not have access to such performances, and it's really our way of honoring the legacy of our benefactors, Dr. and Mrs. Post. They love Joplin arts and culture, and they also love the holidays, so it's just a fun way to celebrate.
The event was free and open to the community without a library card needed. While participating in holiday festivities, why not include your furry friends? Crawford County Historical Museum is hosting Pet Santa photos. Ugly sweaters and Christmas-themed accessories are encouraged. The event also includes Christmas crafts for kids.
This is actually started with Amanda Mitten, who takes care of the Crawford County Museum here and does a fabulous job. Well, she brought it to my attention, and I thought it was a great idea as well. So our group got together with her and found Santa Claus, and then just got the ball rolling. And the people in this community have been very, very gracious to us today in turning out.
All proceeds from the event benefit the SEK Animal Advocates. And Sam Lane joins us now.
Well, we had the sunshine return for a little bit this afternoon. Not everyone saw the sunshine, but we had the clouds really socked in for most of the day in a large part of the area, and those clouds did not produce any precipitation, thank goodness. We are still kind of in a drought, though, and we desperately need some more rainfall, especially in southeastern Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. We have seen a little bit of relief from the drought on the Missouri side. We are going to see more rainfall as we head through the next couple of days. In fact, we're going to have a mild Monday and thunder on Tuesday, and then a colder Wednesday, and then an extended cold wave, which I'll tell you more about coming up in just a little bit, so stay with us.
Thank you, Sam. The survivor of a shooting at an Oklahoma marijuana farm that killed 4 people has been arrested after being released from a hospital where he was treated for gunshot wounds. 44-year-old Yafel Lynn was arrested last week after the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics filed notice to seize the farm west of Hennessy, a town about 55 miles northwest of Oklahoma City. Lynn remained jailed yesterday, according to jail records, although court documents do not show that formal charges have yet been filed. Lynn's attorney, Clay Curtis, says he has not been proved the likely charges through illegally manufacturing and trafficking marijuana, and possible that his arraignment is scheduled for Wednesday. Ukrainian President Zelensky says the Russians have reduced the eastern city of Bakhmut to ruins. This as missiles, rockets, and airstrikes are reported in several areas across the country. Fox News correspondent Nate Foy is in Kyiv with the latest.
Ukrainian defense officials say between yesterday and today, Russia has launched 60 rocket attacks and 15 drone strikes, specifically in the southern part of Ukraine. 10 of those drones were shot down, but it comes just one day after the United States offered an additional $275 million in military aid for Ukraine. Big part of that package is air defense, specifically against drones and Iranian-made drones, which are being used more and more by Russia in this war. More on that in a second. First, take a look at this video from the Donbass region. As you have seen, intense fighting continues there. President Zelensky says the city of Bakhmut has been destroyed because of that intense fighting. This has been a clear goal of the Russian military throughout the conflict. They are expending tremendous resources trying to take full control of the Donbass. So far, they have been unsuccessful. But back to those Iranian-made drones. They're being used again after a few weeks where they weren't. It appears that Russia has received more supply from Iran, but U.S. officials are worried about the relationship between the two countries. Iran has been Russia's biggest military supporter since August, and U.S. officials say that relationship is expected to get stronger.
We expect Iranian support for the Russian military to only grow in coming months. We even believe that Iran is considering the sale of hundreds of ballistic missiles from Iran to Russia. We have also seen reports that Moscow and Tehran are considering the establishment of a joint production line for lethal drones in Russia.
The White House worries in return for those drones, Russia will offer Iran advanced military weapons and equipment like helicopters, fighter planes, and air defense systems. John Kirby says if this relationship continues as it is, the threat will extend far beyond Ukraine and include the entire world, but specifically Iran's regional neighbors. Just yesterday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said Russia is expanding its nuclear arsenal, which is already the largest in the world, ahead of the United States. And President Vladimir Putin has suggested multiple times throughout this war he's not afraid of using those weapons. Reporting in Kyiv, Ukraine, I'm Nate Foy, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Larry Boyd served in the U.S. Army in 1972. The Fairland, Oklahoma native was stationed in Vietnam, Korea, Germany, and Turkey. He received a Bronze Star and Technical Service Medal. We salute Sergeant First Class Larry Boyd, a four-state hero. And later on in sports, the Kansas City Chiefs took on the Denver Broncos today. Danny Terzer will have the highlights. A new study on twins says exercise can make differences on how genes behave, especially in diseases involving the metabolism. Researchers at Washington State University analyzed the data from 70 pairs of identical twins for 7 years. They say exercise can change gene markers in metabolic disease. The more physically active siblings had lower signs of metabolism disease as measured by waist and body mass index. The researchers say epigenetics, the changes in how genes express themselves rather than altered genetic code, may explain why twins develop different diseases as they age. And Juul has agreed to pay more than $1 billion to settle nearly $10,000 lawsuits targeting the company. As a major cause of the youth vaping epidemic in the U.S., the e-cigarette company agreeing to the payment total of $1.2 billion, aiming to resolve all personal injury, class action, and school district claims against the company. Juul avoiding bankruptcy last month after receiving a cash infusion from investors and laying off hundreds of employees to cut costs. And in case you are looking for another reason to avoid jumping into freezing water this winter, some experts warn that polar plunges could lead to shock or even death. Polar plunges are popular for raising money for charity, but experts say jumping into the cold water causes and also raises heart rate and blood pressure, placing stress on the heart. But those with heart conditions may be especially at risk for dangerous effects. Sam is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, the latest on an oil spill from the Keystone Pipeline leaking into a northern Kansas creek.
Well, friends, we had a little bit more sunshine today than we did on Saturday, and I think we're going to see a little bit more sun tomorrow before the rain starts to move back into our area. So we'll take a look at that in just a moment. But right now, let's enjoy this nice evening down at Indigo Sky Casino Resort in Seneca, Missouri. No rain tonight, but that's going to be changing. Like I said, over the next couple of days, we have a big storm system that's going to be moving into our area. Highs this afternoon were generally in the upper 40s across our area, even some 50s showing up in Seneca and Grove, 51 in Afton today, although it stayed in the lower 40s up in Yates Center with 41, and also Stockton with 41 degrees this afternoon. 50 was what we topped out here in Joplin. 49 is the normal, so we were just barely above normal on that. We were way above normal on the lows, though, of 42 over 29, and the records are 74 and 5 back in 1962. Radar is all clear right now, but as I mentioned, over the next couple of days, we're going to see that change. As we go through time, we're going to see the rain move back in. 47 right now in Joplin. It feels like 47 with the dew point of 41 degrees, so the humidity is getting up there at 80%. Also might want to keep in mind some dense fog might develop in some of those colder valleys later on tonight as the temperature drops. Temperatures right now are generally in the 40s across the area, with Iola checking in with 39 right now for one of the cooler readings, a little bit warmer down in Jay where they're currently sitting at 49. And the whole area on a whole is about a little bit above where we were last night at this time, generally around 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than it was yesterday, a little bit cooler off towards the east. So the warm air is starting to return back into our area, and that's ahead of a storm system that is now centered over California. But as we go through time, watch what happens. This kind of digs itself into the central plains, and as it kicks out into the plains, it's going to become a big storm system, and that's going to spread quite a bit of rain across our area. And then the low just kind of sits over Nebraska, funneling in some colder air from the north, just in time to meet up with the next storm system that's still going to be out in the Pacific Ocean. So we have several chances of precipitation in the forecast. Now on Tuesday, with the severe weather, it's going to mainly be down in northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, maybe a strong storm or two here, but I think the threat is really going to be down to the south. The heaviest or the strongest possibility of any severe weather would be some heavy rain, but as I mentioned earlier, we've been kind of in a drought, so that's going to help out just a little bit. Over the next 36 hours, you can see the rain chances really increasing, and by 9 a.m. on Tuesday, we're looking at about 100% chance of rainfall. And across the region, we're expecting generally above a half an inch of rain. Some areas could approach about an inch or so if you're in one of those lucky spots. And southeastern Kansas is the worst of the drought right now, so they certainly could use an inch of rainfall from the next storm system. So tonight, we're going to see most of the cloudy skies with lows in the 40s across our area with southeasterly winds. And then as we go through time, tomorrow, the clouds will still be with us with highs generally in the lower 50s across our area. But notice as we go through Monday night, showers and storms start to develop across our area ahead of that next storm system. And then by Tuesday morning, lows will be generally in the 50s around 7 o'clock with southeasterly winds. And then this frontal system will sweep through the area, taking with it the rain chances, and then the winds will switch around to the south and west. Well, we should still make it up into the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. But notice, here's a cold front dropping in from the north and west. That will sweep through Tuesday night, dropping our lows into the 30s by Wednesday morning. So we're going to be seeing major changes, and it's going to stay cold for quite some time. In fact, our 8 to 14-day forecast shows most of the country will be below normal on our temperatures, so get ready for the cold air. Right now, it looks like we're going to stay dry with most of the precipitation down to the south during that same period of time. All right, here's a look at the next 7 days. 55 tomorrow, 61 on Tuesday with the best chance of storms, and then it turns colder as we go through the rest of the week and into next weekend with maybe some flurries here and there, but not a big snowstorm right now on the horizon. So that's pretty good news.
Gotcha. I think it's safe to say winter's here to stay.
It's here to stay.
All righty.
Well,
don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Once again, that's the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up, some travelers this weekend dealing with issues after fuel tankers were delayed bringing shipments for planes. 14,000 barrels of oil spilling out at a site in rural Kansas after another breach in the Keystone Pipeline is once again raising questions about its operations. Fox News correspondent Brian Linus has the story.
Crews are working in near freezing temperatures to clean up the biggest oil spill in the history of the Keystone Pipeline.
At this time, we're just focused on recovery efforts, safety of our personnel on site, and safety of the environment and community.
Canada-based operator TC Energy shut down the system last week after a breach in the pipeline caused more than 588,000 gallons of oil to leak in northern Kansas. That's nearly enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The company had secured a federal government permit that allowed the pressure inside parts of the pipeline to exceed the typical maximum amount allowed.
It would not surprise me at all to learn that that higher pressure is what has caused these large releases.
In 2019, the pipeline leaked an estimated 383,000 gallons in North Dakota. Environmental concerns led President Biden to pull the plug last year on the proposed Keystone XL pipeline.
We have seen a pretty high number of failures on that pipeline. I think it's probably a good time for the federal regulator, the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, to maybe look at that special permit and that higher pressure they're allowing this pipeline to operate.
The EPA says the spill is contained so far. It has not threatened the water supply or prompted any evacuations. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
Fuel supply issues are affecting travelers and pilots heading to and from the Orlando International Airport. Airport officials say bad weather on the Gulf Coast delayed tanker ships that supply fuel to Orlando. The officials are telling pilots to top off their tanks before heading to Orlando International. They're also advising passengers that the fuel issue may affect travel to and from the airport Sunday and Monday. Up next, a milestone for NASA's quest to put astronauts back on the moon. NASA is celebrating a major milestone in its quest to put astronauts back on the moon. The Orion spacecraft splashing down off the coast of Baja California this afternoon after a 25-day trip around the moon. Fox News senior national correspondent William Lajuenes is in Los Angeles with more.
So NASA officials called this a remarkable mission and textbook landing, with the module splashing down some 300 miles off the coast of San Diego around 12:40 Eastern Sunday afternoon. 11 parachutes slowed the orbiter down from 300 miles an hour to just 20 as it hit the ocean. Helicopters report no damage, and crews plan to bring the capsule aboard the USS Portland. After 4 weeks in space and 1.4 million miles, NASA will spend the next year going over data before the next manned flight, scheduled in 2024.
It is the beginning of the new beginning, and that is to explore the heavens.
Artemis is a stepping stone. 4 flights with the goal of building a human base camp on the moon by the end of the decade. No humans aboard this flight, but 3 dummies were wired with sensors to measure radiation levels. Other tests included those to look at the nutritional value of seeds affected by space. Can fungus repair DNA damage? And can yeast and algae grow in space? Amazon's Alexa and Cisco's WebEx were also installed to see if future crews can use video conferencing with mission control or use voice commands to monitor the ship's water and power supply. NASA used a new re-entry technique to reduce the speed, G-forces inside the capsule, and that 500-degree temperature on the capsule's heat shield.
The ultimate test today was checking out the heat shield during the 25,000 mile per hour re-entry from lunar distance. So it came through with flying colors.
The Artemis program will cost about $93 billion over the decade. The next flight in 2024 will have 4 astronauts aboard, but in 25 it will land 4 humans on the moon. In 27, a lunar lander, with the goal, a space camp built on the moon with hopefully a flight to Mars in the late 2030s. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, how some local police officers helped students with their Christmas shopping. The MSSU Choral Society presented its holiday concert at the First Community Church in Joplin. KOAM's Shagun Bomadelli was there and has more.
As Christmas Day approaches, the MSSU Choral Society, conducted by Melissa Black, is an area-wide mixed choir that offers fellowship and fun for those who are passionate about singing.
I think all of us love to sing, and we love to bring what it is that we have to people and provide a little fun and excitement at the holidays. You know, this is a great time of year, and we love to do what we do and sing for everyone.
With the harmonies of the songs, Bloss says the nativity brings the community together.
About choral singing is it brings people together. We're four different parts, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, but when we come together we make a better sound than just individual, and that's kind of true of what we do in life. So we're a microcosm, if you will, of life. We're making the community a better place by singing together.
This is the first time the group is meeting since 2020.
We shut down, we had to stop for a while, and then we got to start back up, and I believe this is my third concert with them.
Being the conductor of the music group, Blake says music is a universal language.
Music speaks to so many people, and it expresses so many different types of emotions that it's just a way to celebrate the season. And with this particular group, it's a wonderful fellowship. And so we just enjoy getting together and making beautiful music.
Reporting in Joplin, Shegun Bandele, KOAM.
Members of the choir sang several selections that celebrate the holiday season, including Christmas on Broadway. Earlier today, the Holiday Sip and Shop at the Frisco Event Center featured local vendors from around the area. The shop included clothing, sweets, candles, signs, and more. Coffee and hot chocolate was provided to keep shoppers warm.
To support the local businesses around the holidays. It's a great way for people to shop small, and there's a bunch of great vendors here. So,
some of the vendors in attendance included the Sugar Pit, Creative Cottage, Astor Boutique, and Sally's Sweet Treats. Yesterday, the Joplin and Seneca Police Departments teamed up for their annual Shop with a Cop event at Walmart on Rangeline. The event allowed local students from Joplin and Seneca schools to get some Christmas gifts for everyone on their lists. More than 150 kids were able to shop. Donations from the event came from individuals, businesses, and organizations from around the area.
This program, it's really special, especially whenever you get paired with a kid and they want to shop for people other than themselves. It really touches your heart.
Kids are chosen for the program by school resource officers and guidance counselors. All right, Sam joins us with the weather.
Thank you very much, Cale. It was a little bit more sunshine today than we had on Saturday, but the clouds have now moved back in, and you can see that on the satellite view. We're going to see those clouds stick around for another couple of days as we start to deal with the next storm system moving into our area. We're still also dealing with the drought, especially in southeastern Oklahoma and northeast Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. A little bit of relief in southwestern Missouri with some of the rainfall that we've had recently. And with the coming storm system, we should see a little bit more improvement in the drought situation in our area as well. All right, we're going to have a mild Monday, and then some thunderstorms roll in on Tuesday, and then it turns colder on Wednesday. And then behind that storm system, we're going to have an extended cold wave, get everybody in the Christmas spirit with some cold weather moving in as well. And we'll have details on that coming up in just a little bit.
Thank you, Sam. Justice served more than 30 years after the bombing on Pan Am Flight 103. On December 21st of 1988, the plane exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing everyone on board, most of them Americans. Now, after nearly 34 years, the suspected bomb maker will face charges in the U.S. Abu Aguila Mohammed Mossad will make an appearance in federal court in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. After a 2-year negotiation, the United States was able to get him into U.S. custody and back to the States to face these charges. One victim's mother is happy to see justice.
Today was a shock because I wasn't expecting it today, but I knew that they knew the bomber, and the bomber was in Libya. It's very important that the people who perpetrate these crimes are brought to justice.
Scottish and UK officials vowed to continue to pursue the investigation with the U.S. And another drop in the Twitter censorship saga continues. These new details about former CEO Jack Dorsey's decision to kick former President Donald Trump off the platform. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has the story.
In the thread so far, we have heard that Twitter executives had been meeting with federal agencies and that a very small leadership group accounted for almost all of the content rulings. This latest thread focuses on the discussions taking place within the company on January 7th of 2020 over the decision to ban then-President Trump from the platform. For this installment, the documents were released by Elon Musk and provided to writer Michael Schellenberger, who reported that former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey was being pressured to allow for policy changes. Schellenberger, he shared this, quote, "Progress," exclaims a member of Roth's trust and safety team. The exchange between Roth and his colleagues makes clear that they had been pushing Jack Dorsey for greater restrictions on the speech Twitter allows around elections. Roth is Yoel Roth, the company's former head of trust and safety. It's unclear how closely Dorsey was involved in decisions on content. Schellenberger writes that he was actually on vacation during this time period, but adds, quote, "On January 7th, Jack Dorsey emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after a temporary suspension," after Roth assures an employee that, quote, "people who care about this aren't happy with where we are." The documents shared, according to Schellenberger, show that prominent figures, including former First Lady Michelle Obama, also pressured the company to remove Trump. A day after that email from Dorsey, Trump was removed under a new 5 strikes policy. Now, in the documents, there was a singular junior employee that expressed that this might be a slippery slope. More documents are expected to be dropped today. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Still ahead, Harry and Meghan respond to a wave of criticism about their new docu-series detailing their lives as royals.
Well, we had a little bit of sunshine this afternoon. That certainly helped make things a little bit better than Saturday, where we were socked in with the clouds. But the clouds have returned, and that's ahead of the next storm system. You can see right now in Indigo Skies Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. Pretty nice evening shaping up down there. The rain is going to be holding off for a little bit longer, but it is on its way, and we'll show you that in just a moment. But temperatures this afternoon were pretty nice. In the upper 40s to around 50 degrees in many locations, 51 in Miami, also in Afton. A little bit cooler up to the north where they were 41 in Stockton, 43 in Garnett, and 41 over there in Yates Center. Temperatures are now starting to fall, though, a little bit. All right, high in Joplin was 50. We started out at 42, so a very short thermometer today. Normals are 49 and 29, and the records are 74 and 5, not anywhere close to that. Thank goodness. All right, let's take a look at the radar. As I mentioned, all clear right now, but that's going to be changing over the next 24 hours. Right now in Joplin, we're sitting at 46, and it feels like 43. The dew point's 41, so the humidity is creeping up there at 83%. Might see some fog develop later on tonight, especially up towards the north. Temperatures generally across the area right now are still in the 40s, a few 30s thrown in, like Iola with 39, same thing over there in Nevada, 49 over in Nowata, as well as down in Jay and in Grove. And that's about 24 hours ago. We are warmer now than we were at that time, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer, especially in southeastern Kansas, a little bit cooler off towards the east than we were 24 hours ago. Here's the storm system that's going to be giving us the rain over the next couple of days. Right now it's in California, but as we go through time, notice what happens. This starts to eject out into the plains, and as it does, we're going to see the rain increase and also a threat of severe weather, mainly down across Louisiana and Arkansas. And then the low just kind of sits over the central plains, funneling cold air in from the north, and that's going to be with us for several days. So we're going to be feeling a little bit of spring and then also a little bit of winter in our forecast. Here's a look at the severe weather on Tuesday, mostly in northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, maybe as far north as I-40, but most of the severe weather should stay down to our south, and we'll just be dealing with the heavy rainfall. In fact, that's the biggest threat we're going to have from the storm system, and that's a moderate risk of some heavy rain. But we need the rain, especially in southeastern Kansas. Here's the rain chances over the next 36 hours. It's only going to increase as we go through time, especially by 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Pretty much everyone should have rain by then. All right, here's the rainfall forecast totals. We're expecting generally over a half an inch in most locations. A few places could see an inch or more, and that would certainly be welcome in southeastern Kansas. Temperatures tonight are going to be pretty much in the 40s with cloudy skies, and then tomorrow the clouds will still be with us with highs generally in the lower 50s. But notice as we go through Monday night into Tuesday, here comes the rain from the west, spreading from west to east across our area, and by Tuesday morning pretty much everywhere we'll be seeing the rainfall with temperatures in the 50s. The afternoon, the storm systems move off to the east. Temperature should still be in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. Here comes the cold front up to the north. That will slide through our area, bringing in the colder air just in time for your Wednesday. All right, let's jump past this map and go right into the 7-day forecast. You can see 55, 61 on Tuesday, 47 on Wednesday, and then much cooler as we head towards next weekend. Cale?
Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Coming up in sports, the Pitt State women are on the road facing Central Oklahoma. Plus, the Chiefs aim to bounce back against the Denver Broncos. Danny Terzer has those highlights and more next.
The Chiefs are 9-3 this season and 3-0 against division opponents. Today, Kansas City is on the road facing AFC West rival Denver. This is the first of 2 games this season. Chiefs up 6-0 in the second. Patrick Mahomes flips it to Jerick McKinnon. He takes off 56 yards and in for the touchdown. Let's rewind though. Look at this pass. No-look pass under pressure from Patrick Mahomes. Later, the Chiefs defense with the big play. Willie Gay picks off the pass. He returns it 47 yards for the pick six. Chiefs lead 27-0, but Denver makes a comeback, capitalizing on a few Kansas City turnovers. Third quarter, Russell Wilson finds Marlon Mack, gets a few blocks, pushes off the last guy in his way, 66 yards, and stumbles into the end zone. That makes it a 6-point game. Chiefs offense regroups. Mahomes finds Juju Smith-Schuster to extend the lead. Then under 5 minutes, Denver with the chance down by 6 once again. But the pass is intercepted by L'Jarius Sneed. Kansas City hangs on to win 34-28.
But you don't win a lot of games when you have 3 interceptions. It's just being a little too loose with the football, and I got to correct that because we're going to continue to play good teams, and we're trying to make a run in the playoffs, and I have to correct that and take all the good that I'm doing, and then take away that negative stuff because that's what loses you games in the playoffs.
The Pitt State women are off to a hot start this season. The Gorillas are 7-2 with just 2 games left before the Christmas break. Pitt State in action today against Central Oklahoma. The Gorillas drop a season-high 100 points and pick up their 3rd straight win. 6 players score in the double figures. Tristan Gegg leads the way with 18 points, including 5 threes. The Pitt State men fall to 6th-ranked Central Oklahoma 77-60. Deshaun English scores a team-high 17 points and 9 boards. Calvin Polina also a big contributor, 14 points and 8 rebounds. Then there's this one, Division I level. Kansas State hits the floor against Incarnate Word. The Wildcats roll by the Cardinals 98-50. Keontae Johnson scores 18 points, and Kansas State improves to a 9-1 record. The Joplin Eagles won the Carthage Invitational on Saturday for the 2nd straight year. The Eagles topped the tournament host Tigers 60-54. Joplin's All Right is named the tournament MVP. He averaged 28 points per game over the course of the tournament. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.
A group of former Wells Fargo executives must pay a sizable fine over a past scheme of false bank accounts to meet company goals. A federal administrative law judge has ordered 3 former bank officials to pay $18.5 million in collective penalties. The penalties cover a scheme going back several years in which Wells Fargo opened fake bank accounts during a sales goal push, without customer knowledge and under false pretenses. The judge said the 3 bank officials failed to stop the process. And a federal health agency gives some help to your feline friends that suffer from a common human malady. The FDA has now approved the first pill to improve control for diabetes in cats. The drug is called Bexacat, and the active ingredient helps the cat's kidneys from reabsorbing glucose into the blood. The glucose then leaves through the urine. The drug isn't for cats being treated or have been treated with insulin. Harry and Meghan are responding to overwhelmingly negative reviews after the release of their new Netflix documentary series. They say tabloid media are creating and spreading an untrue narrative about why they stepped back from royal duties. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman has that story from Los Angeles.
I spoke with a member of the UK Parliament, and he tells me this new documentary is dominating the British press.
This is a TV event that has gripped our nation, and you cannot go anywhere in the United Kingdom without some people having an opinion about this.
He also says the timing of the release of this series is disrespectful.
The British public are angry. They don't get the point of this Netflix documentary. And of course, we are as a nation still grieving the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And it's really, really been regarded as an insult to her memory.
Prince Harry said that he hoped stepping back from the royal family would lead to a more quiet life for him and his family, but their critics say they keep making themselves the center of attention. A spokesperson for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex defended them in a statement to the New York Times, saying, quote, "Their statement announcing their decision to step back mentions nothing of privacy and reiterates their desire to continue their roles and public duties. Any suggestion otherwise speaks to a key point of this series. They are choosing to share their story on their terms, and yet the tabloid media has created an entirely untrue narrative that permeates press coverage and public opinion. The facts are right in front of them." But critics say based on their actions, including the multi-million-dollar deal they signed with Netflix, it seems they want more attention and more money.
This is the Kardashians on a regal level. I mean, it really is a reality show, not a documentary. And I think what people will look at is this beautiful house that they live in, the private jets that they fly on, the endlessly muted cashmere clothes that they're all wearing, and think they've done this for money.
The 5th season of The Crown was released on Netflix on November 9th, and then Harry and Meghan's docuseries came out on Thursday, so both their fans and critics have a lot to take in right now. Reporting in Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
Up next, we'll take a look at the most popular Christmas candies in each state, including the favorites in the 4 states. The holiday season is about more than just candy, but it is the sweetest part. So what's your favorite? Tastes vary from person to person, even from state to state. TheCandyStore.com surveyed 16,000 customers, distributors, and manufacturers to create a list of favorites, and some might surprise you. Peppermint bark, a traditional treat, is no longer as popular as it once was. It lost a top spot in 6 different states, including California and Texas. And the ever-popular candy canes are also losing their flavor. They lost a top spot in 4 states this year. As for our 4 states, peppermint bark tops the list in Kansas, Hershey's Kisses are Missouri's favorite, Oklahoma likes Kit Kats, and Arkansas goes to the Starburst.
I like Starburst out of that list.
Hey, it is pretty good.
Well, I think you're going to like this forecast if you like rain, because we have more of it coming our way. Tomorrow, 55, and then the best chance of rain will be Tuesday with a high of 61. Then we turn more winter-like as we go towards the rest of the weekend with maybe a few flurries on Thursday and Saturday, and the cold weather sticks around right on through the rest of the forecast with maybe a chance of snow as we go towards next week.
All right, yeah, well, certainly looking like it might get a little bit colder out there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a dog carnival in Nigeria. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us a part of your night.